Kitty Lixo gets her accounts back the fun way. Jessica Alba thinks comic movies are still too white. A water park gets in trouble for weighing everyone. And a look at 1-star reviews of TikTok. All this in a huge back catalog at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. In the TV show Winning Time, based on the true story of Magic Johnson's rookie year with the Los Angeles Lakers, actor Mike Epps, playing Richard Pryor, pulls Quincy Isaiah's Magic Johnson aside to tell him about the nature of celebrity. He says, "You know, all this fame shit ain't natural. That's the problem. We ain't born for it, and we ain't made for it. And we definitely ain't ready for that shit when it hits us. But you best believe everyone else is." I don't know if this is a real quote from the real Richard Pryor or not, but it doesn't matter. What matters is how true that quote is. Human beings are not built for fame, and we see the effects of what it does to people all the fucking time, especially for those who end up famous when they're young. Their brains still not fully formed, with no guidance on how to handle it, and greedy parents just happy to ride their coattails and who don't care if their kids are gonna be fucked up for life or not. Look at the lives of Macaulay Culkin, Lindsay Lohan, Amanda Bynes, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, Dustin Diamond. Some of these people didn't make it. I'm not saying fame is an excuse for, say, Justin Bieber pissing in a mop bucket at a restaurant when he was 19, but I'm sure it didn't help. And so, we come to Britney Spears. Britney was 16, turning 17, when the song Baby One More Time came out. 17 turning 18 when the album came out. And when you know that picture of her in a skirt on her knees looking up is kinda gross. But she was famous immediately and became one of the biggest pop stars of the 90s and early 2000s. Now, if you were the ages of 17 to 22, and all of a sudden you had what felt like unlimited money and so much notoriety that you could go anywhere and do whatever the fuck you wanted, how do you think you would handle that? I know what you think the answer is, but likely the answer is probably just as badly as anyone else at that age with poor impulse control. In those days, they were better at covering up substance abuse and we didn't know anything about mental health. But we do know that she starts doing some very bizarre things. She marries her childhood friend in Vegas, which then gets annulled like 3 days later. A few months later, she gets engaged to Kevin Federline, one of her backup dancers, after only knowing him for 3 months. She gets married to him and then gets knocked up sometime around Christmas that same year. Then in 2006, she's seen driving with the 1 or so year old child on her lap. Not safe at all. Then she divorces Kevin Federline like 2 or 3 months after giving birth to their second child. Then she has the famous meltdown. She goes into rehab, leaves a day later, goes to see her kids and is denied by old K-Fed who's been looking after them during all this, goes to a hair salon, and shaves her own head after the hairdresser refused to do it, winds up in a bunch of other rehab facilities, and completely loses custody of her kids to Kevin Federline. In 2008, she's involuntarily committed to mental institutions twice, and this is around when her dad steps in and gets the conservatorship, which we found out that for the last 13 years, he's controlled her entire life. What she ate, what she wears, who she can talk to in terms of the press, how much money she can spend, what gigs she can or can't take, when she'll work. Which, arguably, you have to wonder where she'd be now in her life if that didn't happen in 2008, or if she'd even still be alive. We basically didn't know anything about mental health. In 2008, people with mental health issues were like the moon to cavemen. They didn't really know anything about it, and they just hoped it would disappear during the day and not attack them at night. When Britney shaved her head, everyone went, "Oh wow, she's fucking crazy, what a goddamn lunatic!" And that was that. There wasn't concern like there is now when a celebrity shows signs of struggling, which we'll get to. In fact, people reveled in it. It was just, "Haha, stupid bitch shaved her head, what an idiot, who will fuck her now?" That's what people said. Except maybe for that leave Britney alone person, who everyone also mocked. So, for 13 years, Britney is basically a child again, forced to do whatever her dad tells her to do. There's a documentary about it that Britney's not thrilled about. You can read way more about the situation if you're interested, but the general consensus is that it went on for too long and at some point stopped being about Britney Spears' actual health and well-being and more about Jamie Spears making a fuckload of money off her daughter's fame. So, a judge terminates the conservatorship in November of 2021, And Britney's free. Free to live her life at the age of 40. Imagine being nearly 40 years old and you don't get to choose what you wear every day. That's fucking crazy. So, her fans are happy. Britney's free from the tyranny of her controlling father. Until they're not happy. Because as I said, now people are worried whenever a celebrity does something that they wouldn't do. And what they wouldn't do is post a bunch of naked pictures of themselves on Instagram, apparently. So, over the last couple of months, Britney's been posting pictures of herself wearing low-rise skirts, bikinis, and nothing at all. Apparently, she's still using those clippers. And nearly all of the top comments on one of her most recent posts are people who think something is wrong. Are you okay? I feel something is still wrong. Seek counseling. Why? Why keep posting the topless pics? She's just making herself still look like she needs help. Why all these naked pics? WTF is wrong! 4 exclamations. Stop! This is not normal! Let's all sit here and applaud and pretend this is perfectly normal behavior. Straight face emoji. I'm gonna say something that will not be liked. Got 599 likes, but needs to be said. This woman needs an intervention. Not like before, she was a prisoner, but by a team of professionals who are trained with this stuff. There must be someone in her life who can step in and say enough is enough. Get that man out of her life too, because he is obviously happy to watch her crash and burn as long as the money pours in, broken heart emoji. He'll be there until they're married, then divorce her. Then he'll have half that pot of gold angry emoji. She's already married, by the way. Britney married 28-year-old model and bit part actor Sam Asghari earlier this year. So, just to make it clear, after years of being told what she can and can't do, and finally being free, and deciding to do whatever she wants, what people want is for someone else to tell her to stop doing what she's doing. You want her husband and other so-called professionals to step in and be like, hey, stop posting nudes on the internet. If so, what's the difference? You want someone to control her. And to answer the question, is she okay? I mean, probably not. She's a famous person who's had her life publicly scrutinized and criticized for over 24 years. But I imagine there's something quite liberating about being like, hey, people want to see this? Well, then I'll post it. I won't wait for some scumbag paparazzi to snap a fucking upskirt and sell it to every shitty magazine in town, like they did in 2006. Is this a sign of some sort of mental health crisis? No. But I feel like only North Americans would think it was. Can you believe it's 2022 and people are still fucking freaking out over skin? Oh Lord Jesus, does she have no decency? Cover your shame, madam. Fuck right off, you puritanical prudes. I truly think it's as I said. She spent years having assholes trying to take scandalous photos of her. She is taking it back. Oh, you want to see my tits? Here they are. One supporter of this behavior suggested she open an OnlyFans because she's missing some major coin. But why would she do that? She doesn't need the money. And this is just another point to me for why this isn't the sign of some sort of breakdown. She's not doing this because she needs to, because she feels that she has no other options. She's doing it because she wants to. It's a decision that she's making. She's not posting these and then a few hours or days later entering a state of lucidity, going, oh God, what have I done? And then deleting them. She's making these decisions clear-headed. So, don't worry about Britney Spears. Worry about yourself if you're seeing a naked woman and going, oh my God, who would do such a thing? They're clearly insane if they'd show their censored naked body to the world. Because clearly, you still have some real deep-rooted hang-ups about nudity and sexuality that you need to work through with a licensed professional. It ain't 1950 anymore. And even the 1950s weren't what you think they were. Your grandma blew your grandpa at the drive-in because oral was moral. It wasn't a sin if it didn't go in. And hey, maybe you're right. Maybe this is another meltdown. If it is, just remember, after her last one, she came back with Womanizer, Circus, 3, Hold It Against Me. She had more top 10 hits after her meltdown than she did before. So I'm not saying you should be rooting for another meltdown, but at least you'll probably get another banger out of it. And you get to say I told you so. It's a real win-win for you. Not for Britney, but If you cared about her in the first place, maybe you'd stop obsessing over every aspect of her personal life and stop trying to tell her what to do. The very thing that drove her to madness in the first place. Just a thought, but how about actually leave Britney alone?